Hey everyone, Ryan here, or M&R Productions, and welcome to my review of the Republic Bricks custom LEGO Star Wars 501st style Clone Wars Y-Wing. Quite a mouthful there, but it is quite a model as well, and it's a ship that I feel like LEGO should have produced and sold as a mass production LEGO set following Season 7 of the Clone Wars. Alas, going into 2021, it doesn't look like that will be the case, and custom may be your only move if you actually really want a model like this. And with that being said, this video is sponsored by Republic Bricks. He did send me his 501st custom Clone Wars Y-Wing for free to review for you guys, so big thank you to Timmy over at Republic Bricks. And speaking of the Y-Wing, here it is. It is a big boy. It's actually bigger than the 2009 Clone Wars Y-Wing that LEGO released for $60, I believe, at the time. However, if you actually want to buy that set now on a place like eBay, brand new in box, it could cost you upwards of $200. Before we take a look at that behemoth right there, I think it's important we take a look at his website, republicbricks.com, and you can use code M&R if you want to save 5% on your purchase. Now, something I actually noticed at the top of his website, the banner used to say that he exclusively used new parts, and I pointed this out to Timmy. I'm like, Timmy, I've had used parts in a couple of your sets. Now, I will say, this Y-Wing, I only had new parts in, so that's definitely a good step in the right direction, but there is times where I've noticed that he'll have to use used parts, and so what he's gone and said is that he'll use used parts when new parts aren't widely available, and I think that's fair for any custom set manufacturer like this. I think that that's not unreasonable to expect, but as far as my experiences, the majority have been completely new parts. This set had 100% new parts, but I know that there can be times where you may have issues with that, so you may want to contact him first and ask him what the deal is with any specific set if you're interested in that. But if we go over to the Y-Wings tab, you'll see that they have the 501st Y-Wing here. There's an option for with or without figures. Now, there's no option for with figures on this particular set. It would have been cool if we could get an Ahsoka and Rex with this set from Season 7, would just make sense. But alas, that option is not offered. I'm sure you can buy those figures either from Timmy or elsewhere if you want to kind of complete the set in a way. But the set does have a picture that shows off white Technic axles, and this is something that I noticed while I was building, that I had black Technic axles, and I was like, hey Timmy, what's the deal? And so what he told me was that white Technic axles are extremely expensive, and he did not realize this, and it is true. They are extremely expensive. If you go on the Bricklink page for 16 long Technic axles in white, they can be like $10 each in quantity. It's actually insane. So I can understand why a compromise had to be made here. And unfortunately, LEGO doesn't actually make that part in light gray, because light gray would have certainly been the preferred color. You can see kind of all matches up there as kind of an all-in-one color scheme. But unfortunately, the piece that we're working with here only comes in black or white, and white is extremely expensive. So black was kind of the compromise that had to be made. And it says you can add the 5 figures from the scene, I suppose, but unfortunately, like I said, the option doesn't seem to be there on this particular page. But that's the website. Now, the instructions that I was sent look like this. Again, that same picture designed by David Buckles. And as we scroll through the instructions, you'll see they are just like LEGO instructions. Now, of course, they're not going to be perfect. You may have to adapt, improvise, and overcome in some areas. If we skip on down here, I actually have something to point out to you. So if you do end up getting this model, you'll notice that they put these curved pieces under the Technic rods and such. You actually have to kind of pull those slightly out of their slots to get everything to fit in the way it's supposed to fit in. It's fine, it's not going to fall out, but they don't fit in the way you would inherently think they would given the way the instruction shows it. So just keep that in mind if you ever buy and are building this model. It's just one of those quirks of custom models that they're just far from perfect, and you know, I think that's okay. Some things aren't perfect. As the saying goes, the devil is in the details, and I think this set does a damn good job of representing the details, other than with these Technic rods, which, like I said, would ideally be in light gray. However, they aren't actually produced. LEGO does not make this piece in light bluish gray, which would have matched up perfectly, and unfortunately, it just isn't the way that it turned out. But as far as a 501st color scheme in general goes, other than the slight eyesore of a black Technic rod, I think this does a bang-up job of representing a 501st Y-Wing, and it's going to look really cool in my clone army next year with all my 501st troopers. I actually am pretty hyped to have it for that aspect, but I mean, it does look like a 501st Y-Wing. It does a good job of representing the paint markings that the version that we see in Season 7 of the Clone Wars does. Now, of course, it's not going to be perfect, and they don't use stickers to go ahead and like finish things off like they would in like a LEGO set to make it as close to the actual thing as they could. Like, I feel like there are some areas where you would go in and put a white sticker to just finish out a marking, when in this case, it's all brick built, right? They use tiles and such to get everything to work. Now, the set is similar to the 2009 Clone Wars Y-Wing set. However, the design is not so inspired. It's actually quite a different design, and I think most of that can be shown by showing the underside of the model here, and you can actually see that it's actually just kind of loose paneling here on the side. This is not a set you're going to buy for your kids to play with. This is a set for collectors like myself, or people that want to build a mock and have a custom ship for their mock, something like that. I think that's a use case, or just someone that wants to put it on display, right? You'll definitely get away with using it for that, but this is certainly no playset. But back to the underside, you'll see these panels are just kind of loosely attached at the front, and then they kind of sit in the back and just kind of push up against these Technic pieces. So it's actually quite an intriguing design from that aspect, where they're really going for looks over the like perfect, strong design where you would more see that in a Lego official set. It does have some landing gear here, which you can actually fold up into the Y-Wing, and it's pretty seamlessly stored away. And the landing gear doesn't give it much clearance off the ground, but it does give it some clearance, and I would prefer to keep it with the landing gear down when you are placing it down onto a table or some surface. Like I said, not a lot of clearance, but just enough for it to make sense, right? Maybe like a couple centimeters, if that, up underneath the engines at the back there. But it works, and that's nice. Now, the design itself has some paneling that is rather weak because of what they go for with the design, which is the looks versus like the actual strength of it. So panels like this can actually pop off rather easily, and that can be a problem if you're playing with it. But like I said, this is not really intended as a playset, so if you buy it and use it as such, you're not going to be getting what you think you should be getting, I suppose. Like, don't go into this expecting a playset. That's just not really what it's supposed to be. Now, looking to the cockpit, we get the printed Lego piece here, and this can open right up. There's a control panel. I just happen to have a couple of First Order Stormtroopers on standby, as always, and we'll place them on in there. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then for the back, you're actually going to have to lift off like this whole top piece with the turret on here, which is actually a really nice thing to have in the back here. It's like a thing to shoot at whatever droid ships or whatever. But you can actually sit another character in here, probably without the helmet. Yeah, it looks to me like that helmet was going to be too thick to fit in there, but you can place a figure with their head kind of poking through if they have like a hair piece or something. That was a similar function on the 2009 Clone Wars Y-Wing set, but yeah, unfortunately the helmet just going to be a bit of a tight fit there. Gives some nice small cannons at the front. The engines are rather bulky. You can see at the front here they are pretty wide, and like I said, that black Technic rod is a bit of an eyesore. Unfortunately, you can certainly go in and try to customize it yourself, but it just didn't work out the way that I think they originally wanted it designed, which is a shame. I wish that piece also came in light gray. Maybe in the future, if Lego makes it in light gray, I'll come in and actually mod the set myself. Now, speaking of weak panels, these will pop right off as well, but again, you can just put them right back on, I suppose. It's just not a thing that I'm too worried about, is pieces like that popping off. Again, it's for looks in this particular case that I think is important. And quick shot of the back of the engine, which is actually a really nice build. It's actually really well finished off, and while I bet this is more accurate, that kind of looks better, to be honest. So yeah, that's actually kind of a neat thing what they've done there. It's a unique use of that piece there, I think. But looking at the one function this set has, actually has a bomb dropping feature, and you load the bombs in from the top. You've probably seen this on plenty of Lego Star Wars sets, but you can drop the bombs out of the bottom by twisting this little knob here on the back. So if we twist it, they will eventually come around and drop on out. And so it's a neat function. It's not like a killer play feature or anything, but you can load them in again, and you are going to be good to go to take out the droid base or whatever your case may be. Now, one final thing that you may find important is that there is a space for an Astromech Droid. So if you want to get an Astromech Droid, you can go ahead and throw him in there, and that's going to work all fine and dandy, and this will go right around him, so you don't have to worry about the cannon on the back hitting him or anything. So kind of neat design in that way. So should you spend $320 on this 501st Y-Wing? Well, $320 is a lot of money, and I think that goes without saying, but in the custom world, $320 could actually get you farther in some other areas like a Republic Bricks or Republic Gunship. I feel like that's a much better value for your money than maybe something like this, unfortunately. This is my case in point right here with this Munilus 10 Republic Gunship, some of my favorite Star Wars ship designs ever, and they cost the same amount as that Y-Wing there. I just don't see the draw for the Y-Wing over a gunship if you're going to go ahead and spend this much money on something custom. But it's a really nice model. It maybe weak in some areas connection-wise. However, it's going to look really nice on display one of these days. I just feel like it's one of those sets that could actually look pretty sleek as a non-official LEGO set with this 501st Y-Wing. So for most of you, you probably shouldn't be buying this. It's just really expensive for a 501st Y-Wing. But if you really want a 501st Y-Wing and you love the end of Season 7 of the Clone Wars, man, then this is definitely a great set for you. Otherwise, I think your money's better spent elsewhere, whether it be on a Republic Bricks Republic gunship, which you can get for pretty much the same price, if not less, or something else. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you do buy anything from republicbricks.com, make sure you use my code M&R to save 5% off, and I get a little kickback from that. At the end of the day, I feel like I wouldn't recommend this model for most people. Like I said, I feel like you gotta be a real hardcore 501st lover to go out and spend $320 on this, and I would recommend a lot of other Republic Bricks models before I would recommend this one, to be quite frank, like I said. So, thank you all for watching. I'll see you later.